What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big John and G, the Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. Gotta aim it just right. So what's up, everyone? Thank you for stopping by here. Thank you for watching our channel. Thank you for subscribing to Two Gun Pixie. Very cool that you do. So we have another Midday Monologue Monday coming at you, everyone. And this one is very dear to me. Good reason why I'm wearing this shirt, actually. This time, I would like to talk to you about RPGs that I have loved over the years. I talk a lot about Dungeons and Dragons, and that may have been the first. But it wasn't the only one. There was a lot back in the day. Some good ones, not so good ones, but a lot that I loved. So why don't we go down to the table and we'll chat about it. I'll see you down there, everyone. What's up, everyone? So thank you for being interested enough after that introduction to actually come down here and join me while I talk to you about RPG games I love. Wow. Wish there was more time in the world for more RPGs. No. Not enough time. But we can talk about them because there was a lot. So yeah, I cut my teeth on Dungeons and Dragons basic set back in '77, as far as I remember. And that was a lot of fun. So much fun that as I found out that there was more, that there were imitators, I had to know what they were. Plus, not only were there imitators, but the company that published Dungeons and Dragons has a whole line more. And they all cover different subjects. Wow. So I remember my friend Michael getting Man, Myth, and Magic. I don't remember us really running it much, partly because nobody else wanted to DM. Once anybody else tried to DM, nobody ever really wanted to do it again. So I seem to remember Michael and Jonathan getting the game and running us through it like literally once. And that was it. Didn't leave much of an impression on me, other than the fact that I thought it had a fantastically awesome name. Man. Oh, awesome. But me, after Dungeons and Dragons, the first thing I got, and this is actually still my copy. This is my original copy. Tunnels and Trolls. Was that by Flying Buffalo Inc.? Yeah, Flying Buffalo Inc. Designed by Ken St. Andre. Now, if you take a look online, especially around Facebook, you're going to see this still has a large following. It's up to like, I don't know, the 5th or the 8th printing, 4th edition or something. I don't know. I liked this game. We ran through it a couple of times. But ultimately, it wasn't Dungeons and Dragons. And me and Anthony and Dennis, we all, if we were going to play fantasy, at that point, we were going to play Dungeons and Dragons. But I think that this may be one of the seeds for the name of this channel. Because you were able to play pixies in this. Literally called pixies. It was a pixie or a pixie-like, a fairy creature. And I remember playing one and thinking it was so cool. Because you're this tiny little thing and you're flying around with a sword or a bow. And if you get hit, it's probably game over. But that they usually can't see you in time to do anything about it. So I think this is where my love of pixies first started. But then, it was right back to TSR. I think the first non-D&D game by TSR that I got, and this is not my, I don't think this is my, no, this is not my original copy. This was, about 10 years ago, there was a fire, it destroyed everything, long and short of it. And my old friend, Evil Bob, he donated me, gave me Boot Hill. Yeah, I honestly do. I think this was the second TSR game that I ever bought and ran the original Wii-sized 20-sided Warriors through this. On the one hand, we loved it because we were still growing up with the age of cowboys still being this great American myth, you know, and we, although it was the tail end, we still know, you know, who like the Long Ranger was, and there was still a lot of Western television shows from our parents' age that were still being rerun that we got to watch. So we, you know, Clint Eastwood, let's not forget about the great Clint Eastwood movies. So we really did have this love of the cowboy, the Wild West genre. But coming from Dungeons and Dragons, with his magic and healing, this was absolutely brutal. And we loved it. We kept going back for more. So yeah, I got the box with a map somewhere here, I think. But yeah, then these two. The first module, which can also be run solo style, almost like a choose your own adventure path, an endless quest book style. That was great. Now, unfortunately, I don't have exactly what I wanted for this next one, but beggars can't be choosers, my friend. That's for sure. So this is the which printing? This is the fourth printing, like the second edition of Gamma World. This is where it started losing me, actually. I like the previous edition a lot better, with just like the surviving militia type people in the foreground, and in the background they're looking at this burnt out husk of the remains of a city, and they're like a Geiger counter with them and everything. I like that version better because from here they started getting more sci-fi instead of dystopian. You follow, even though Gamma World was the future, and there were rules in the earlier editions, you know, for finding high-tech stuff, that certain levels of society before the destruction, the downfall, were fairly high level. But that was so rare. I mean, that was akin to finding an artifact in Dungeons and Dragons. You know, you didn't get one every adventure. You got one once in an entire campaign. And then this one started really building up on the lasers and power armor and cyborgs, and it lost me. But the previous edition of this, Gamma World, oh, wow, we loved that one so much. And one of my favorite parts of it was the, they have a chart, flow chart. That's the word I was searching for, flow chart. When you find technology, depending on what level the technology is, they have different difficulty levels on the flow chart. So, depending on your abilities and skills that you have, that would change some of the die rolls for better or for worse, and you would follow through the flow chart, and you know, maybe you got it to work, maybe you broke it, maybe you thought it was broken. There were so many different possibilities. It was, maybe it exploded on you. It was great. It was fun. It was so unpredictable, and it felt real. Well, as real as you can imagine, with you know, as real as you can fantasize what a dystopian, sci-fi-ish, apocalyptic world is going to be like in these situations. It seemed normal, it seemed fun and logical. It really did. And I love that so very much. Now, there's one, I don't have anything here to show you because all gone. But it was the game that literally pulled us away from TSR. It was the game that dragged us away from Dungeons and Dragons. And that was by Fantasy Games Unlimited, a superhero title called Villains and Vigilantes. I don't know what happened. I can't tell you exactly what it was about the rules or something, but it hypnotized us. Now, there were other superhero games that were out around that time or came out shortly after that, like GURPS Supers, comes to mind, Champions. We tried them because I was buying them all. I was buying so many role-playing games back then. So I wanted to collect them. I wanted to have every possibility. If me and my buddies wanted to do something in a specific campaign or genre setting, damn it, I wanted to have it available. Never mind. You never outgrow some things, right? But Villains Vigilantes had something, and it dragged us away for, I'm going to say, close to 2 years where we didn't touch Dungeons & Dragons at all. I mean, I was still buying D&D stuff, reading it up on my own, and getting campaigns ready for, whenever it happens. But Villains Vigilantes, we were the champions of Manhattan. That was the name of our team. We loved it. We played this every day after school. In high school, every day. We went to different high schools in this neighborhood. Well, most of us did. And we would rush home just so we could play until dinner time. And on the weekends, forget about it. It was an all-day event. I can't think how many adventures I did. It was a lot. It was a lot. But we did get back into TSR games. We got back into Dungeons & Dragons. There were other TSR games that came out. This one was great. I don't have the rule book for it. The only thing that has survived in my collection so far is the first module, and that's Gangbusters. A game that takes place in the Roaring 20s during Prohibition. And yeah, you could play a police officer, you could play a gangster, you could play a newspaper reporter. It didn't matter your angle, just that everyone had an angle. Yeah. Maybe you were on the take, maybe you were trying to take the mob down from inside, maybe you were just looking for a damn good story. And don't forget the classic PI. Maybe you're just in it to pay the rent. That was a great game. Now, yeah. So I got this one out too. Top Secret. Top Secret. This was a great game that came out at a great time. It really did. It came out, in the height of the 80s, the Cold War. James Bond films are doing fantastic in the box office. And then TSR comes out with a game where you get to play spies. I think this was also donated to me by Evil Bob. Yeah, that's not my handwriting. Yeah, this is probably from Evil Bob. Thanks, though. And it was fantastic. I remember running a character that was everyone wanted like a James Bond type. I was really fascinated with another one of Roger Moore's role, and that was the television show The Saint. And I fashioned him as a combination of Roger Moore's The Saint and Faceman from the A-Team. Called him Simon Templeton. Yeah, it was fun. I even remember, that's how much fun it was. And he had glasses that could let him see behind him to make it hard for anyone to come up and garrote him from behind. Oh, it was so much fun. But there was a James Bond game. Didn't really care for it too much, but I did end up getting the Q manual for the James Bond game to sort of just rip off everything, all those cool gadgets and ideas for them, and just convert them into top secret rules. This was donated to me by a neighborhood buddy of mine, Ben. Star Frontiers. This was, during the 80s and 90s, literally, hands down, our favorite science fiction RPG. I remember one of Dennis's favorite characters was the Dralicite, the little blob guys. Had great senses of humor. Well, not great. They had senses of humor. Only they thought they were great senses of humor. But I like the Yazranians, the monkey guys with the fleshy. What's that called? I don't know. Patagia? Flesh like flying squirrels have. Oh, I love that. Not all of their games were great though. Not all of their games were great by TSR. I don't know how this survived. I don't know why this survived, but it's kind of fun. If you're into Buck Rogers, it's kind of fun. And they had a SSI made a computer game. I remember I had that for the Commodore 64. That was great. The SSI game that was absolutely great. And that's the great games of the 80s that I ended up playing. In the 90s, moved into some of the White Wolf games, especially the Werewolf the Apocalypse. I had everything for Vampire the Masquerade, but I didn't care for the whole politics of the game. Yeah, there were politics in Werewolf, but not to this Machiavellian medieval degree of the vampires. And that always turned me off about the Masquerade game. But I had all the books, first and second printing, that's at least sure. But the Werewolf one, that's the one I loved, with the auspices of the moon and the different tribes. And I want to go back to that. I really would. Yeah, that's what dominated the 90s. Until 3rd edition came out. Yeah. Actually, we had just started a 2nd edition campaign when 3rd edition came out, so we had to convert all the characters. And actually, I think half the party ended up making new characters anyway. But 3rd edition, and I'm going to end off on this. I'm going to end off saying on this point right here. 3rd edition is one of my favorite editions after 1st edition. There's a few reasons, but one of the reasons is because of the D20 licensing. Now, even not having third-party availability, just the idea that the company is going to use this one set of rules for their role-playing games, not just for Dungeons and Dragons. And that was one of the things that did really bother me in the old days, that TSR had these great rules for D&D, and yet they radically changed pretty much everything to make the rules for these other games. And it just always boggled my mind why, Gary and TSR just didn't have a universal rules set. Or something near universal enough that, 80-90% of the rules are right here, and then, the different maybe settings and genres have a smaller rule book with updates and addendums. That's why they should have done it. So when 3.5 did that, I was in love with that, because that's the way I thought it always should be. So out of all of them, out of all the non-D&D games, yes, Villains and Vigilantes was definitely hands down our favorite. The only thing that pulled us away from that for a little while was the TSR Marvel game. I've spoken about that a few times. I think I did a slideshow on it already, so I'm not going to bring that back up again. But the phase rip system of the Marvels, TSR Marvels, dragging us away. But Villains and Vigilantes definitely hands down favorite RPG game during the 80s and 90s outside of TSR, Dungeons and Dragons, and AD&D, definitely. If I had to pick a second one during that time, it would be Game World. In fact, the top 3 Star Frontiers after that. So other than V&V, they're all TSR games, really, that were my favorite. We played others, I owned others, but that's the way it felt to me and everyone else around us. Everyone that was playing. Tried to win new games, but everyone always wanted to go back to TSR. All right, so thank you for checking this wrap out about some of these 80 games and 80s games. I didn't talk about 80 games. This thing will still be going on for quite some time. But that's very cool. So thank you very much for doing that. And also thank you for checking us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So amazing when you go over and you check out and you see if we're doing anything over there, because we try to, but we're not always sure what to do. Right here on YouTube, thank you so much, everyone. You subscribe to the channel, you like, you comment, and you share our videos when you like them. I hope you like more of them. So very cool, everyone. So thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching the videos. I'm your buddy, Big Johnny G, for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and I am